adventure and Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm here with our next guest, Andrew Salazar, who has a killer new song out with his band Donella Drive. So let's welcome to the show. How are you?
What's going on, man? I'm doing great, dude. Doing awesome. Thank you for
having
me.
How you like my background?
I love it.
You know, I want you to tell everybody about the new single, Simian Transmission, like what your idea of it is, because, you know, when it comes to songs, artists have one idea of what the message of the song is, and then other people pick something else up. So tell us what your version is.
To me personally, my brother has his own view on it. I mean, he wrote the lyrics for it, but my interpretation of it is essentially like having that self-doubt, kind of like being in a lost place, trying to communicate, and it's not getting across the way you want it to get across. That's my point of perception anyway of the song. It's like kind of like trying to communicate, and no one's kind of hearing you out. No one's kind of hearing your perspective, your point of view. That's what I think it is about. And
you know, I think it's kind of apropos of what we live in today, because I always say all the time, we have way more ways to communicate than ever in history, and our communication skills are the worst they ever are. You know, it's like when it comes to everything, social media, email, text messaging, all this technology, you know, we're communicating, but there's meaning that is getting, you know, miscommunicated, or, you know, there's nothing behind it except just the words and whatever that person puts the meaning to those words.
For real, even like, it's funny, like sometimes we'll have like a band discussion, we're texting each other, and it could come off as like, I guess, passive aggressive, and then
right,
it's like that whole Key and Peele. I don't know if you've ever seen before, that Key and Peele skit where he thinks he's being aggressive, and they're just texting each other back and forth, and he's there. They meet up, and he's ready to fight, and he was like, "What's going on, man? Are you okay?" Like, it's like a whole just miscommunication.
No doubt. And, you know, it's interesting because I'm sure you've done this. I do this. I'll send a text message and I'll write it out first, and then I'll read it to myself, and I'll be like, I wonder what they're going to think I'm saying. And it's probably the exact same words you'd say in real life, except the difference is you have your facial expressions, your tonality, and so it comes across the right way, and the same exact words somebody's going to interpret totally different without those things.
Totally, man. I definitely agree with that. I've definitely done that too. It's like I'm like erasing it, going back and forth. Like, is this okay?
Sometimes what I'll do is like I'll do it and I'll just keep it in drafts, and I'll wait till like later in the day or the next day when I'm maybe in a different mindset and read it and go, oh, fuck, I'd be pissed if I got that next.
No, for sure, man, for sure.
So you said your meaning is different than your brother's. So what would you say your brother's is?
Pretty similar, except to me, like especially during the verses, it's kind of like a rant and what's going on in his crazy mind. It's like he's very you know, ADD. He's has like, to me, like especially the first verse is very like kind of like a rant inside his head, but he definitely the song is about communication or lack thereof, and how you know, you say one thing and it can mean another thing, can be interpreted another way, kind of like a archaic way of communicating, I guess.
Well, and think about it too, okay? Because you're using Simian in the name and, of course, the background here. And I think of Planet of the Apes, and where
Yeah.
humans are mute and
Yeah.
they cannot communicate with the apes. And, you know, there's miscommunication there too. It's like, so to me, that's all relative.
Yeah. And the vibe of the video, we kind of wanted this like kind of post-apocalyptic kind of world, you know, kind of vibe with the whole ape theme, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, big question.
Mhm.
What's it like to be in a band with your brother? I couldn't be in a band with any of my brothers. I could tell you right now. I don't even, if they weren't my brothers, I probably wouldn't even associate with them in life.
Dude, you know what's crazy? And I've told people this before. It's like, it's probably the most real band I've ever been in because, you know, we can get right to the point. Like, you know, other bands have been in, you kind of have to like eggshells, tippy toe,
Yeah,
like watch
that
you
makes
stay.
sense.
But with me and my brother, we'll go right. Sometimes
Yeah.
you gotta like take a step back, like, hey, you know, we need to chill out. But there's definitely been times where like he'll have an idea or I'll have an idea, and we're like, oh, dude, that sucks. Like instantly, like that's horrible, worst idea ever. Like
Right.
it comes across like that. So as far as me and him, there's definitely not a lack of we communicate pretty well, almost too well. You know what I mean?
See, that is the good news because you know each other so well, and you don't have to play games. You don't have to sugarcoat it.
Nope.
And I mean, I look at it this way anyway. Okay. So if you're in a band, you have the same sibling rivalry as if you were brothers.
Oh, yeah.
So you already have prepared all your life to be in a band, both of you.
Yeah. We've had family members in bands. My grandfather was a musician.
Nice.
You know, my brothers, because me and my brother were half brothers, but his dad was in my life a lot, and he was a musician. You know what I mean? I have an uncle who was he's in a metal band right now. They're called Flesh Hoarder. He's a musician, and he's the first guy I jammed with. So it's kind of like, you know, and I have other uncles who are he's a musician as well. So it's just there. It's in my family. It's in my kind of in my DNA.
You know, and it's interesting. You know, everybody likes to talk about Texas, the live music scene in Austin, but I don't know. I've been to Austin. I wasn't that impressed, but what I am impressed by is I have bands that I know and like I'm friends with that are San Antonio-based bands, and they're like the coolest people ever, or the coolest bands ever. I think maybe Austin should be, you know, take their crown taken away and giving it to San Antonio.
I will say this: Austin is straight up. I mean, Austin has its thing for sure. San Antonio, it's definitely to me more of a metal scene, big metal scene here. The hardcore metal scene is huge here,
and the brotherhood, because like you probably know him. This really good friend of mine who's Even in Death.
Yeah.
Sean Nations.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
He creates that impression of like all you San Antonio bands are like all this brotherhood, which I don't think Austin has that. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, there's some great Austin bands right now too. But definitely to me, maybe the scene here in San Antonio, it's a little bit more smaller, so it's a little more close niche.
Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah, I think that could be it too. I think like there's definitely pockets of different scenes here, and then they're real tight too for sure. We're kind of in our own lane. We're in this weird kind of gray area. We kind of like we'll play shows with pretty much anybody we can, honestly. Like, you know, we've played with metal bands, we've played with like indie bands. You know, sometimes we've even played like death metal shows or deathcore shows even.
See, I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. Some promoters don't, but I love it.
Because I come from the day where, you had all the gatekeepers and you couldn't even mix the same genre. And frankly, it was stupid. Music is music. And, you know, you like it or don't like it. It doesn't matter what the genre is. But if you're only listening to one genre, you may miss out on a lot of music that you probably absolutely love.
Totally, yeah. And I've played those death metal shows and deathcore shows, and they've come to us like different members of different bands, and we're like, dude, that was refreshing. It gave like their ears a break. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because we offered something different, in the middle of the, death metal, deathcore stuff. And I love that. And I love death metal. And I grew up on it. I have family members that play it. So, but, we just try and incorporate our own influences and do our own thing.
Yeah. So I'll tell you the funniest gig I ever went to in my whole life was, it was at the Troubadour. Okay. And it was Striper opening for Slayer.
That's awesome.
Right? Right? And it was so funny. I remember so clearly. I was up at the stage, and the guitarist of Striper, he was doing a lead, and he bent over, and his cross was hanging down. And I don't know, I was like 15. I don't remember. Idiot kid. And I took his cross, and I flipped it upside down. And he just smiled at me. Like, it was like, it was right then that I realized, well, he is actually pretty cool because like he didn't react the way I expected. Type of
yeah, that's cool. That's cool. He gets. I mean, he knows.
Well, it's funny because so what? You have two bands that maybe are not the same, and maybe you like them both, and you just have a good time. Live music. Yeah. One thing I think we've learned from COVID is, I don't give a fuck if some kid with a recorder gets up on stage and plays a show. I want to be at live music. I don't care.
Yeah, same, man. Yeah. We took it for granted for sure. And I remember our first shows back after COVID, they're actually really crazy. Like, it was like we had crazy pits and people were knocking over tables. Like, it was like chaos.
Nice.
Like, as soon as we got to 100% capacity at the bars,
I love it.
It was like, everyone was like, yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you got rid of that people being bitchy and complaining about everything and realize, we need this live music. I don't care what it's like on, and there's still people that are going to complain, but a lot of the people that got a wake up call created a much better scene. And I think metal's bigger than ever now after COVID, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like I said, literally Knock Loose is on Jimmy Kimmel the other night.
I know. With Poppy. Yeah. I mean, that was insane. And then it's like, he got all kinds of backlash, and then Body Count's going to be on next. Yeah. So it's like, you can backlash all you want, but obviously the audience loved it, or else you wouldn't be bringing another band back that's going to cause chaos on there.
Oh yeah, no, I love it, dude. It's awesome.
Right? Mm-hmm. So you got the new album is coming out, set for February. Mm-hmm. Tell us more about the album besides Simian Transmission. What else we would like to know to look out for? So
the next single, it's actually called Mindless Embryonic, and it was filmed by a friend of ours. We're gonna drop that in February as well. It's pretty much, don't expect the same sound that you heard on Simian. It's a totally different vibe. And I would say that's pretty much the whole theme of the record. Every song is like its own kind of in its own lane, like from track to track. And there's kind of we've added probably the thing we've done with this album is we've actually added kind of little interludes that lead into different songs. So it's kind of like one kind of almost story.
Nice.
Yeah. So there's an intro song that's gonna lead into Simian, and then it goes into Mindless, and then like I said, it's gonna be a musical journey, man. We've got instrumental songs with a saxophone solo.
Nice.
We've got probably the next song, Mindless. It's like a combination of me and my brother were saying it's like a combination of Megadeth and the Mars Volta.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a journey right there.
Yeah. It's definitely got its dynamics and peaks, and it's gonna be crazy. And then we close it out with this almost we close the album out with it's almost instrumental. It has very minimal vocals. It's almost like a kind of trip hop New York style. I don't know how to describe it. It's funky, but it's got a vibe. So it's just It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be a journey, dude. That's all I can say. Don't expect one sound.
See, I dig that too. Like, okay, so why? This is why people skip tracks nowadays, because a lot of bands, metal bands especially, like they plug in like this algebraic equation formula, and it's like every song is the same song on the album, and I don't need to listen to the same song on the album every time. I want difference. We all have different parts of our mood and personality too. So like, I will vibe like that. I'll be driving down the road. I'll listen to Slayer, and then I'll turn on Dirty Heads right after Slayer, and then I'll go from Dirty Heads to like Possessed, and then back to like Grateful Dead. Like,
totally. No, I'm the same way. I'll start with like something super heavy, and then I'm doing something funky, and then it goes all over the place. So like we have so many influences, and we want to include them all in our music. We feel we haven't even tapped into everything we could do, honestly. Like, that's cool. I feel like we're just getting started, honestly, on where we could take it. So like I said, don't expect one sound. There's so many different sounds and styles on this new stuff, for sure.
I love it. Tell everybody how they can connect to you guys on the web, on socials. Check out Simian Transmission, pre-save or whatever they have to do for the new album coming in February, merch, the whole deal.
Okay, yeah. If you want to just look us up, we're everywhere. You can, all the social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, just at Donella Drive. We have our Bandcamp as well that has music that's not even on Spotify, so you can get kind of like exclusive stuff, some live stuff, some stuff before when we had a different singer like is on Bandcamp. We now have a big cartel that you can check out. We have some shirts for sale, stickers, flags, hats, and that's just at Donella Drive. If you go to our Instagram or our Facebook, go to our link tree, you can see it in our bio. Just everything's cool at Donella Drive.
Nice. Any final words you want to leave our listeners with that we haven't covered already?
No, just please check us out. Check out our music, stream it anywhere you stream your music. We're there, and to be on the lookout for the new music video coming out. It'll come out in February. Mindless Embryonic. That's gonna be the next single.
Nice. Well, thanks a lot for making us some great music out of San Antonio. As many, like I said, I'm digging the music scene there, so I'm glad you're part of it. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
No, dude, I appreciate you. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
You got it.
Cool.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.